Today, we are diving into a topic that's going to make you rethink your next doctor's visit. What your doctor doesn't tell you that's making your symptoms worse.
Hey everyone, we're not here to bash doctors, but we do want to help you understand why it's important to look beyond just the symptoms and really dig into the root cause of your health issues.
Welcome back to the Limitless Health podcast. Let's start with the trust we place in our doctors. They've been through years of training. And it's very natural for us to believe that they know exactly what's best for us because they have been placed in that position of anything health related. This is the person I go see. This is the person I get my answers from. However,
Yeah. If you're someone, I know that was my history as well. I grew up in a family that was like if there's something wrong with you, you go to your doctor and they're going to be the solution. They're going to have the answers for you. And I think similar situation for you, right, Amanda?
I went because I was having skin issues years ago. This is probably like 20 years ago, such that these little bubbles under my skin and they would actually dry up and get kind of itchy and really sore when they were at their worst. They haven't been like that in a long, long time. But I know there's many people out there. I'm becoming more aware that there are many others who are dealing with skin issues like this as well. And I just hearing that other people are having a similar experience with that and going to their doctor and being told,
Hmm.
for me, it was here, take this steroid cream, and that's pretty much it. And I've said this before, but I just had this feeling that that wasn't the solution for me. I didn't know what other options I had at the time were, but I just knew that wasn't it. So I stopped using that altogether and just kind of continued on with having the issues and until more recently when we had more tools to actually figure out why did I have it and what to do about it to actually get rid of the problem.
Yeah, when I started to hear too that we can look deeper and figure out what's causing the issues, it was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Because I had a similar situation. I had multiple similar situations. Definitely when it comes to being diagnosed with MS, and my doctor was like, oh, we'll just put you on medication. And it was, I'd have other side effects. And so I'd need more medication. And then there was more side effects. And it was like, I'm not really getting better though.
Mm-hmm.
Or the time that I was dealing with really heavy periods, which is something that we see with clients a lot as well. And I actually had a period of, okay, so I had really heavy periods from kind of a younger age. And then I went through this phase of my life where there were 5 years where I had no periods at all. And I know a lot of women are probably like, I wish. And at first I was pretty happy about it, but I started to realize like this probably isn't normal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to a gynecologist and she ran blood work and said that your blood work's fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Maybe it's all in your head. I haven't bought tampons in 5 years, so I'm pretty sure that's not on my head. But anyways, I went to another gynecologist after that and he was like, "Oh, I'd be okay with putting you on the birth control pill." And that's the more common thing we hear from other clients too. And for me, it was really not a good situation. And ended up the side effects were they could have taken my life. It was brutal. And it's just it's a band-aid, right?
You
And
should
it's like,
explain that just a little further for people who don't know your history. Just a brief little story about that, because that the statement is not to be taken lightly.
yeah.
It was actually a serious situation.
Yeah. So I was on other medication at the same time as well. So I have no way of knowing if it was a counteraction with the MS medication I was taking at the time or if it was just the birth control pill. But I was driving to work and all of a sudden the inside of my mouth was completely numb. Like it felt like when you went to the dentist and they froze the inside of your mouth and I like couldn't lift my right arm. And I was like, this is weird. And so I went to work, of course, because I'm crazy, and worked until my key holder got there. And I was like, hey, this is what's going on. I'm just going to go to the hospital. And he was like, yeah, yeah, go. And so I went, and they, the information I got afterwards, is it sounded like I was having a TIA, transient ischemic attack, which is basically a mini stroke. And I went to my doctor afterwards and told him I'd taken myself off the pill because I was like, that's the only new thing. So maybe that'll help. And he said, that's exactly it. He's like, it sounds like you were having a TIA and good thing you stopped because the next step is a stroke.
That's insane. Like how that would
Yeah.
have completely changed your life.
Yeah.
And we could go through all the what ifs as far as how that could have changed your life, but thankfully you
Hmm.
knew intuitively to, okay, this is the latest thing that I've introduced. Let's stop it.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
And I mean, like I said, I grew up thinking that medicine is the answer. And I grew up thinking that you don't question your doctor, which, okay, sometimes that's fine, but sometimes that trust can keep us from questioning the advice that we get. And it's important to remember that doctors are often trained to manage symptoms rather than addressing the root cause.
Mhm. Yeah. So what does that really mean to manage the symptoms rather than the root cause? What does that look like?
Well, think about it like this. If you go to your doctor because you're constantly tired, your doctor might prescribe you something to boost your energy. Similar to, I had no period, so let's put you on hormones to try and regulate your cycle. But why aren't they looking to see what's causing the hormone imbalance in the first place? What's causing the fatigue in the first place, right?
Exactly. They're not basically trained on how to get to a root cause. They're managing symptoms, as you just said. So
Hmm.
they're basically, if you if you're dealing with, hopefully you're not, but if you were dealing with a leaky roof and your solution to handle that is basically putting a bucket under the leak and sketching the water, but the leak's still there. It's still, maybe you're not paying as much attention because like, oh, the bucket's
Hmm.
there, everything's good. You think everything's good, but the leak is still there. There's still water getting into your attic. There's mold happening. There's layers to not solving the root cause of why is there water coming from my roof. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, and what's happening to the house if you're not fixing the leak in your roof?
Yeah.
And it's no different than what's happening to the structure of your body if you're not figuring out where's the imbalance or
Hmm.
what's getting in the way or what does your body need to actually be able to heal on its own,
Hmm.
right?
Okay, so let's get into the cycle of medications. I think you've kind of mentioned it already. Tell us about an experience where you've seen this with clients or even yourself, your own experience.
I have lots of stories about going on medication and needing other things. When it comes to MS, yeah, I injected myself every day because that was the route that my doctor was like, oh, this is what I'm prescribing you. And then I would fall asleep on the way home from work.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, that's not safe. If you've ever driven on the 401, you don't want to be falling asleep when you're on the
You don't want to be
highway.
there when you're awake either.
That's true. But you don't want to fall asleep when you're driving. It's not
God,
safe.
no.
And so I went to my doctor and I was like, "Hey, this is what's happening." And he's like, "Oh, let's give you this other medication." Okay, fine. And
Hmm.
then I couldn't fall asleep at night. So then, oh, well, let's give you this other, and it's just this vicious cycle. And this is something that we see with clients all of the time as well. Someone starts on one medication that needs another to deal with the side effects of the first one, and it can spiral out of control really quickly.
Hmm. And as you experienced, you had mentioned earlier that you were on medications for MS, and then you had some other symptom going on, and another medication was reintroduced, and you had
Mhm.
a serious effect. We don't know for sure if it is from the medication. However, there's many side effects that could be occurring with that interaction. The medications are not tested with all the ones that you were taking. They were probably
Mhm.
not tested in that way to see if there were any interactions. So it's
Yeah.
likely that would be the case. So this is something else to consider.
Yeah. And it's the lack of communication too, right? Like I
Yes.
was going to see a gynecologist and I was also going to see my MS specialist.
Mhm.
And it's like, why don't they talk to each other? Because
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
one had known that I was on, like, there should have been some sort of communication there. But yeah, there
Hmm.
can be really big counter indications between medications. And that's something that I don't think is addressed as often as it should be.
Hmm. Well, this is kind of the other thing to that. Because if you're having the initial symptom and now, okay, I've got this medication and now I'm having these other symptoms
Hmm.
and you're just layering in things almost as you experienced, things become worse.
Yeah.
So you feel worse. And now the emotions around that are such that you're frustrated because perhaps everything's declining. Maybe it was around your skin issues and now either you're not sleeping and the weight's getting worse and
Hmm.
how you feel, you're just dragging yourself around. And this is awful. Going from where you were not bad, but now everything else is just layered on. And this just, again, more side effects, more pills, and it's not solving the problem. So what are we doing instead? How can we empower ourselves and the listeners to take take their health into their own hands, be responsible for their own health.
I love that question. I love this conversation because that was one of the biggest turning points for me was realizing that all these years I'd been handing my power away
Mm-hmm.
and saying like someone else is going to fix me, someone else is going to come and save me. And when I realized that like taking my power back was was huge. That was a big part of what allowed me to get better. And one way is to seek out holistic approaches. So look for ways that are focusing on treating the root cause, finding the root cause of your symptoms rather than just putting a band-aid on it. So this might mean working with a holistic practitioner, someone like us who does root cause analysis, and exploring alternative therapies, or even making lifestyle changes. Like there,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to have to participate if you're
Yes,
looking to make changes. And but just knowing that there's so much more you can do and you can have so much more input in your health is huge.
absolutely. You don't have to listen to us as far as what we would
Yeah.
say, really. You have the power to decide which direction you want to go.
Hmm.
Maybe you've gone to your doctor and they have prescribed you medication. You don't have to take that medication. You can actually pause and maybe do a bit more research to see if that is a good fit for you. Usually intuitive, we know if something is right or isn't right for us. Sometimes the emotions like fear and things kind of get in the way of what we really intuitively know is best. And that's just something to keep in mind. Because it's really all about, we want to support how our body functions. It's got a natural healing process that it does all on its own. We've all had that moment where we've cut our finger or cut something on our body and we don't have to tell it what to do. It just knows. So if we're giving our body the all the tools that it needs and the support it needs, it can heal. It can get better.
Hmm.
We don't need to rely on other, well, we don't need to use items that take us away from our natural process or block what our body naturally wants to do. Rather than, we want to make sure we're handling the root rather than masking symptoms.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get into some success stories. Remember our client Amanda?
Yeah, Amanda. So
Not
she was
me.
dealing,
There's a client Amanda as well.
we do have a client, Amanda, and she was dealing with headaches that would come up before her period every single month. Her period was like super heavy. She felt like she couldn't leave the house a couple days out of the month. Super emotional as well. Like a lot of the times when we get into that kind of perimenopause, into your 40s for women, it's like, why are you raging all of a sudden? And these are just signs from your body that there's something going on. And once we addressed the root cause of her health issues, so many changes for her. The headaches are not a problem before her period anymore. Her periods just come and go. This is her words. Easy peasy now, which is great. So she can go to work. It's not a problem. This woman also used to have problems with, she had to stay away from gluten entirely. She had a constant fear of eating somewhere and being glutened, as she used to say. And like if her husband would drop crumbs on her half of the kitchen, it was like anger and she was mad at him. And now she can eat these things that she wasn't able to eat before and she doesn't have a reaction at all. So
That must be
there's,
such a huge relief for
yeah.
her to not have to, because that would be adding way more stress to have to control everything like that
Hmm.
and be like, this is the line, this is the fence. I can't make sure you keep your stuff over there. That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it has impact everywhere too, right? It had
Mhm.
impact on the relationship and it
Yes.
can have impact on being able to be comfortable to go out in social situations. I
Hmm.
mean, I know we also have Tree, who, when she started working with us, she was exhausted all the time. And it was like to the point where her coworkers or her employees, I guess, and her spouse actually thought that she was mad at them
Yeah.
because she's usually like a really high vibe, high energy kind of person. And it changed her.
Yeah. It makes such a difference when you actually address the root cause and the real issue
Mhm.
of what's happening, getting actually looking for the real issue. What is that? Why are you dealing with these symptoms as opposed to, oh, you've got this symptom, let's put this medication or even a supplement. Putting a supplement towards it can be a
Yeah.
band-aid approach too. We have to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, that's actually one of our clients, Carrie, said recently. We did a live interview on Instagram, and she just said, one thing I really like about this is it's if you go to your doctor, and this was my experience too, you go on your the medication, like my MS medication, I said to them like, okay, so how long do I have to take this for? And they were like, well, for life, you're
Yeah,
always going to take this. And Carrie was like, I really appreciate that. The goal when you start working with Kate or Amanda is not like, let's put you on these supplements and you're going to stay on them forever.
mhm,
The purpose of the supplements are to give your body the support it needs to start actually being able to function the way that it's supposed to and get better, right?
absolutely. So with that, this is the big question for everyone listening that we want to throw out there. Do you want to keep on relying on symptom management, managing medications? Or are
Mhm.
you really ready to take control of your life and start feeling better naturally? Is this something that you're ready to do? Is this something you're ready to do today? Is our health is so important and
Yeah.
it's best not to wait any longer. So if this is something you're looking to do, now's the time.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're ready to dig deeper, it's about finding out the root cause of your
Mhm.
issues. And if you're ready to explore holistic solutions, we'd love to chat with you. So you can send us a DM, check out the show notes. Our link to follow us on Instagram will be there. That's the place we're most active, although we've been more
Mhm.
active on YouTube lately as well. But
Yeah.
Instagram's going to be the best option where you can send us a DM. We'll put our website in the show notes as well because we do free discovery calls. So we can talk with you about how we can help. If you're a good fit to work with
Absolutely.
us, if you're not, that's totally fine too. But it's good to have a conversation with someone, especially if you're frustrated with going to the doctor and getting the same answers over and over again.
Mhm.
Like hearing your blood work is normal, there's nothing wrong with you. I don't even know what I do if I heard that again because it's demoralizing, right? Or can
I'm
be, and it
sure
doesn't have to be.
no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. We're here to support you through getting to better health.
Mhm.
We are here to listen to your concerns and listen to what you're dealing with. Because if we're not listening and we're not supporting you through that, we're not doing our job. We're
Agreed.
not supporting you the way you need to and deserve to be supported. There are many situations where we go through in life and we're not acknowledged or not supported and not listened to. And I know there are mostly women likely that have this issue that we hear about. Many of our clients have said this. They've gone to their doctor and had these issues and just been dismissed and ignored. And we
Unheard.
won't do that. We will not do that.
Yeah.
We are here to support you on the journey to better health because I don't know what else to say to that because it's so important. It's so important. Alrighty. So all the information, as Kate said, is going to be in the show notes. And if you're not quite ready for a discovery call to find out more, as Kate said, go to our Instagram. We have lots of information on there. You can get to know us a little better through what we post and how we help people. Just go check that out. Check out our website. There's lots of great information there. And when you're ready, you need to be ready. Book that free discovery call because that's the greatest place to find out more information and just it's it's free. It's 10 minutes of your time to find out more information and see if we're a fit. You have nothing to lose except getting better health. So let's I think that's probably good for today.
Yeah, we hope this episode has given you some new insights. I hope that it's inspired you to take control of your health because that was something that was like a big turning point for me. So thank you for tuning in today. And make sure to please leave us a review and share this podcast with your friends. If you know anyone who's in a position where they're like, I'm feeling unheard, I'm not getting the answers that I'm looking for, this may be of value for them as well. So it helps us reach more people when you share.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.